just calling in just to see if you're gonna show up for the meeting on Sunday. We got a lot of things to get off the table. The gorilla situation that we got sued for by the local zoo from our merch announcement, and we need to remember to feed Klowbee. I have to admit, I forgot to feed him for a couple of days, but the responsibility is now on you, so you know it's up to you. And we really need to get Alicion on Chapter 3 on schedule. Also, a bunch of calls from 5 or so women claim to be your wives. I don't get what was going on. I wasn't sure if I should have given your phone number, but we need to get this resolved in the next meeting because they're claiming that you owe them some child support, and I have no clue what's going on, and they're like threatening my life at it, so you know, let's get it done, alright? Oh, one last thing, the RSVP Roundups. We're a month behind on that, so let's try to get that done, right? Alright, see you there!
Oh, shit! Hello there, and welcome to Seasonal Roundup. And not just any seasonal roundup, but in fact the first episode of the year. I'm your host, Madformerspro, and today I shall be covering all the news and updates from various productions from the past 3 months, alongside news regarding the server and the channel's growth, of course. Starting from where we left off in October, through to December, and even a little bit of January as well. So let's take a look back at what we got up to. In terms of, the server and the community, we really didn't get up to much. We had a fun little event thing for Halloween, where various members of the community dressed up in these little costumes, and we posed them for a photograph. We did. We also had a first merch drop around that time too, and a special thanks for Judge Soup for the second wave of our merch drop. He really knocked it out the park with this one. Look at the quality of this stuff. And if you want to buy some, go to the description for a link to all our merch. And as of recording of this video, we have reached 4K subscribers. And again, thank you all for subscribing to the channel. We couldn't have done it without you guys. Oh, and to anyone ask about any future uploads, me and the other janitors are working on a few as we speak. I can't say when they'll come out, but we have a few in the oven we are cooking. And of course, a few of them are tutorials. But we also have a few that are not tutorials, but something else entirely. I'm not gonna spoil what it is, but I hope you guys like it. So all 4 of us have ideas we have in development. But for me, I want to get Alicion Chapter 3 out before I begin work for all 12 of the videos I have planned for this channel. Oh, and one more thing. Rinkin and I were in talks with another big Roblox, let's say, filmmaker. We even spoke about a potential collaboration with them. I'm not gonna say who it is, but we might be doing some big event with them this summer, so keep your eyes open, and leave a comment down below on who you think we might be collaborating with. With all that stuff out the way, let's get into the real reason you came to this video. Film and production news. Before we get into that, I have a public service announcement regarding the Find Work channel within the RSVP Discord. If you are out there looking for someone to do work for, whether it be animation, editing, voice acting or whatnot, make sure their post has actual work to show within it. Either it be videos, YouTube links, and even screenshots of their productions. If they have nothing to show and they haven't posted in the server at all, not even in creations, then it's probably the best idea to avoid them. And for anyone looking to recruit people for their projects, please, please, please show videos, YouTube links, and photos of your production. At least link to your YouTube channel if you haven't had anything made for it just yet. Basically, this is all about credibility. By the end of the day, the whole server is built around networking with other people for help and sharing around our projects. I just want you all to keep your eyes open for any red flags you may see in the Find Work channel, and how to educate people who are looking for volunteers for their projects on what they should do when making a post in Find Work. With that being said, let's head back to the video. Starting off the season of Spooks is our favorite masked hero other than Batman, Spiderman. But more specifically, the Sensational Spider-Man, Episode 2, Birds of Prey. Another Spider-Man fan series, this time created by Dat Noob 1. They also released a trailer for episode 3 at the beginning of December. Considering there's a bunch of Spider-Man fan films being made, with Synapse and Pine Tree Studios included, it makes you wonder, will we be getting a Spider-Verse style crossover with all the Spider-Men from all the Roblox Spider-Man fan series? If you ask me, that would be really bloody dope. Later on in October, V Films released the first episode of Police Archives, a 17-minute documentary-style mystery series about a string of kidnappings. Very fitting for the spooky season indeed. And now that I mentioned V Films, I do recall Rinkin done an interview with him recently. So let's cut over to that interview, shall we?
V of V Film Studios is a Roblox filmmaker with 39,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. He gained his audience gradually over 3 years with his car chase animations and then expanding into other genres of videos, such as tutorials and skits. Eventually, he dipped into filmmaking with his debut series, Day Racers. We invited V for an interview to discuss 2 of his new ongoing series, Pawnshop Losers and The Police Archives. With the release of Pawnshop Losers Episode 2 and the debut of Police Archives, released 2 months from each other, how do you maintain 2 ongoing series when other people struggle to release videos of your quality and runtime over a course of a year?
Yeah, it's kind of, in a way, balancing, or more of like balancing motivation. Sometimes you would have a lot of motivation to work on a specific project, but then it would run out, and you would have to like take a break, not touch the project for a little bit. What ended up happening was I was making Police Archives for another like animation competition, but it ended up being canceled. So I just decided to release it anyway. And that was as I was walking on the second episode of Pawnshop Losers. In the end, I kind of got myself into the cycle where I'm working on 2 shows at the same time. I found this balance to be really rewarding. Like, you would work on one project, run out of motivation, you'll go work on the second one. It's just kind of going back and forth. I know this probably wouldn't work for everybody, but it did work for me. This constant back and forth ended up being really rewarding for me.
What aspects of your projects do you find difficult to do? What aspects of your projects do you find most enjoyable to do in spite of how difficult it is?
This is actually very funny. Ironically, I really don't like animating. I find it really frustrating. No, I get it, right? It's just sometimes it can be really frustrating to get it to look right. And admittedly, I'm not the best animator out there. There are way more people that are way more talented than me. My favorite part is actually editing, like putting over sound effects, seeing it take shape, your original vision that you had in your head is just really rewarding, I think. It's kind of what you like don't get with animation. I mean, maybe it's just because my animation process is a bit different from others. I notice a lot of people animate like the entire scene with like all the camera cuts. I just animate a small segment, like up to where the camera movement would end. And I would cut text to the next shot, and I mean you don't really see it coming together, but like when I would edit it, I would actually see it coming together. So maybe it's just like in my animation process, the way I do it is a bit different.
Regarding the analytic performance of your series, are there any insights you can give as to how you found the audience that views your work? What can one do to get more eyes on their Roblox films, a genre of Roblox videos that struggles to reach a larger audience?
Yeah, that's actually a very good question. For Police Archives, I think it's pretty obvious to most people. I mean, like those body cam videos that you would see on the internet, those have gotten really popular lately. So it just happened that I released that during the time when those were popular. So it took off. I think that's what caused Police Archives to be successful in particular. But for Pawnshop Losers, it is a bit of a different story. It is an original idea. At first, it was actually performing horribly. It was my worst performing video for a month straight, but then it just exploded for seemingly no apparent reason, but I do have some ideas on why. I feel like the story was relatively easy to digest. I think the characters felt relatable. I don't want to talk bad about other works, but I do feel like sometimes scope or like the scene would be a bit too difficult to understand. And something that I found personally was people would have this really cool concept, cool characters and everything, but it would just be hard for me to follow along and understand. I guess what I'm trying to say is the concept should be easy to understand. The characters should be relatable, easy to follow. It's hard to tell what exactly caused my particular work to be pushed out this way, but it's just some ideas that I have.
Yeah, it's like it seems like the tip in general seems to be that try to make it simple because I understand what you're saying. I like as mean as it can be. I think people might get overly like complicated with like their world building, and even outside of like Roblox, it happens because I used to be in a writing club. We just like kind of read like people like obsess over world building, but they never actually get to the point that they write a story. And there's some people who's like working on this like idea for like 5 years. I mean, you tell them, okay, so like what kind of characters there are, like they kind of get stopped as well. I mean, it's a bit complicated, and they just struggle to find a place to like begin their story.
Admittedly, it is really fun to build a world, but it's just like actually writing a good story is really difficult. I struggle with that myself, admittedly. Well, Police Archives, it's a bit more of like when I have an idea, it's actually planned up to only the 2nd episode right now. I don't know what I will do with it afterwards.
Ooh.
It is a more of like a single story kind of thing. Like afterwards, it would move on to a different place, different story, different characters.
Okay.
That's kind of what I have with Police Archives. But for Pawnshop Losers, I think the story's planned for about 10 episodes.
10 episodes.
Okay. Probably 8 more likely. And maybe a few I had a few ideas for spin-off shows, but I'm like, you have to get this done, stop thinking about other stuff, just finish it. So I mean, Pawnshop Losers was inspired by my time living in Russia when I was younger.
All right.
That was
I understand that because you explained that like why there's Japanese cars and like in the settings, like it's like it's not that far off. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, there were actually a lot of people getting angry that I included Japanese cars in a Russian environment.
Did they call you a weeaboo or something?
They were like, bro, you watching too much anime or something? I'm like, dude, I literally was raised there.
Yeah. All right. That was an interview with V or Grenev. You can check out his work at VFilm Studios in the description.
And to close off the spooky season, Coke Studios released a 3-minute short on Halloween called Late Night. It's only 3 minutes, and I'm not the kind of guy to spoil things, so give it a watch if you're interested. October 31st also brought us the release of Isle Alpha 1, Part 2.5. Within it, Maxwell Whalen's dreams was invaded by a haunting spirit within him. He puts him into a cruel and twisted game to give him a sense of contempt, and to remind him what he's meant to be made for. I spoke with Grounalda for a bit more insight. Interestingly enough, this was 6Q's major writing debut, and is only a taste for the prequel to Alpha 1, Tales of a Vagabond. And according to him, this was in development hell during the time they were making Alpha 1's movie. The film got revived on January 2024, and it wasn't revised until July, and worked on until Halloween, when it was finally released. And as for their next project, Tales of a Vagabond, there's going to be an overhaul of the major characters, and it's an attempt of Sharp Edge re-entering the indie animation scene after 4 years of being absent. He also provided me more information from 6Q regarding Tales of a Vagabond, and according to him, Tales of Vagabond takes place in 1984. And to quote, "It's a unique genre bender that I think is best described as neo-pop noir. It follows the typical neo-noir trope, with Aaron falling in the footsteps of characters like Deckard and the Driver, but there's an overtone of 90s pop. Like some sort of drug you get at a club has been injected into the series, and you seeing the story with drunk glasses on. It's emblematic of Aaron's mental state, and the activities he partakes in his free time, at least at the beginning. I imagine that as the story goes on, we will see the world through a different lens, much like Aaron." And that right there concludes October. Now we move on to November, with release of the second episode of Klowbee's Adventure by Swoot. According to him, the third episode will start production very soon. As for his 500 subscriber special, what he had planned for it will be moved to his 1k sub special. We also managed to get Rinken to do an interview with him, so let's cut over to that.
Swootloot is an amateur animator and music producer that has released 2 episodes of his multiversal action series, Klowbee's Adventure. We have invited him into the interview to discuss the production of his new animated series, and how his interests and personal experiences help inspire his series. You said that the story has personal elements. Can you elaborate on how you incorporate your personal experience into your stories?
I only implemented only 2 personal things that happened throughout my life onto Klowbee, which is just depression and the fear of overthinking, I guess. Just overthinking in general. And I want Klowbee in the series to just be stuck in his own head, and just no matter what he tries to do, he stays stuck. And that's how I was in the past too. It's a little bit personal, but
clearly there are a lot of references to shows and games in your animations. What are some shows, movies, games, music, anything that inspired you?
Music, I listened to Persona 3 a lot, and it inspired me on the series a lot. I don't know, just the music was so perfect. That's why one of the songs are the opening of the show. Things that inspired me was obviously, Spider-Man into the multiverse, but mostly what inspired me in that movie was the idea of multiverse. Create just duplicates of my own character, because before I made the show, I was like, I was making these duplicate characters, just for outfits and stuff. I'm like, wait, can these people just be alternates of their own selves, like a multiverse? And then boom, that's where I got the idea. And the Spider-Man into multiverse movie kind of helped me more with inspiration and inspirations of the characters. Mostly all of them are just alternates. They're not really actually inspired. They're just alternates. I didn't really add that much backstory to them, because that's the joke of the series, is they're just alternates. But the characters that actually do have some development and actual lore is Klowbee Hoshino, the one with the cybernetic mask and everything. The one that's depressed. He's inspired by Watch Dogs, Cyberpunk, and just a little bit of Steven Universe. But that's it. That's why he's so I don't know, cool, I guess. And the villain, I guess. No one knows how the villain looks like, but the villain is basically inspired by Ninja Gaiden a little bit Jujutsu Kaisen, the way they handle their characters and stuff. And yet again, Steven Universe, only a little bit of Steven Universe, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. Additional question. What is it about the multiverse concept that compelled you so much? Because these characters didn't need to be alternative versions of themselves.
I just like the idea of clones and clones of the same character, because not only does that add so much freedom for me to actually voice the characters, it's just it's very fun voicing different personalities and stuff, because literally all the characters are the same, they just have different personalities. So they're basically brothers, I guess, but instead not brothers. I just like the funny idea of just making everyone into the same character over and over again, and adding actual stories to them. It's just fun, because I don't want to stay stuck to only one character, for example, Klowbee Hoshino or something. I don't want to stay stuck, just creating that character. I want to create other alternates of himself, because it's just fun. It's fun creating little alternates.
With the release of episode 2 of Klowbee's Adventure, what are your plans for the future of the series?
My plans for this series is obviously to go in more depth of Klowbee's depression and where it came from, since I'm sure everybody's confused as to why he's so I'm so sad or something like that. Instead of the series being 30 episodes, it'll be 10 episodes, because not only will, it won't be annoying to actually animate, and it'll also save a lot of time for me to actually make the show. The 30 episodes were actually just for a class project, but the deadlines are annoying. So I shortened down to 10 episodes, and it makes more sense for 10 episodes since, I don't know what I'll actually do for 30 episodes. I make different universes and stuff, but it's a little bit too many episodes. That's pretty much it for the series, though.
That was an interview with Swootloot. You can check out his work on @Swootloot on YouTube or Oof and Stuff on Twitter in the description.
On the very same day of November 1st, Doc7090 undertook the Inktober challenge, whereby he had consistently animate for a month. He was able to produce at least 24 short animations that were less than a minute long. I went to his DMs and asked how it went for him, and he said, It was worth it, but not for the reasons you probably think. A lot of people attribute view count to consistency. Coming from a dude who posted almost every single day for a month did not change much, but do improve a lot since it forces you to be creative, cut corners, and adapt. But the most valuable thing was that it allowed me to be more persistent. Because I was posting constantly, I was able to become something daily, which let me meet a lot of new people and connections. Inktober was a pre-existing challenge for artists that I decided to do for animation. Overall skills improved. Biggest thing, though, was that I learned that your expectations to animate a good idea limits you heavily. Animating daily sort of allows you to relax and be like, I just gotta get something out. Doesn't matter if it's lame or not. And this sort of philosophy I apply to my shorter projects, since I treat anything that isn't my magnum opus as a stepping stone not to be perfect. Surprisingly, I didn't feel burnout, but excited to see what I could do without being under the limitations of a challenge. November also gave us release of the first episode of Opposing Squadrog, a brand new zombie series by RSVP. This time we follow a group of Marines with our main protagonist, Alexander Shepard. But sadly within 2 weeks, just after the successful launch of episode 1, RSVP uploaded a video titled My Last Upload. To give you a rundown, he said he was quitting for various reasons such as financial, technical issues, and him moving to another country. He said he wanted to give up and was planning on disappearing from the internet. He never really specified on why, but luckily he came back a few weeks later, uploading videos again as if nothing ever happened. Recently, he's uploaded a trailer for an upcoming Squid Game adaptation. And for anyone who's wondering what's happening with Squadrog, I have spoken to him in DMs, and he says that episode 2 is currently in the works. We also got the release of Oof Engage / Extreme, a Roblox remake collab of the Poop Disengage / Extreme, which has finally been released. It took at least 1 year to make. 23 animators contributing to the collab, including Fredamation's Zil1Go and Cust Production. I spoke with Fredamations in DMs, and he said he especially had fun making the ragdoll part. Overall, he had fun working on it, since it allowed him to experiment with many new things. And to cap off November, we had the release of the 4th episode of Spiderman, The Other. In this episode, Peter Parker takes on Kraven the Hunter after his fight against the Lizard. Then in January we got the release of episode 5, featuring Electro. Cynic has also provided us with preview images of episode 6, as you can see on screen right now. And that does it for November. And now we reach to December. And in December, we got more updates in regards to Visionary. We got a fight animation featuring the two characters Alice and Amelia, with their respected voice actors voicing them, that being Sleepy and Grayson respectively. This was released at the tail end of November. Then towards the tail end of this month, we got a voice actor demo for the 3 main characters, Caden being voiced by Kevin, and Chloe being voiced by Not only is it just a demo for their voices, but it also gives us a taste of the character's personality, and to learn a little bit about them. Then in early January, Kevin hosted a livestream with some announcements regarding the production of Visionary. Aside from the 3K subscriber thank you, according to him, the intro to Visionary is almost completed. And aside from that, Kevin has also hinted at bringing back Sly Blockstards. We also had a bunch of minor announcements too, mainly in regards to character model updates. Besides all the technical issues, I'd say his first stream went really well. In other news, Jonesy of the Galaxy, a sci-fi western by Evolution Studio, was released. This being a sequel to Bloxbox's Jonesy of the West. Box has also announced a new short film. The short film being titled Ground Zero. To give you a synopsis of Ground Zero, after getting news of an alien parasite infecting humans, the government sends out a small squadron to investigate a foreign planet to find the source of the attack. Moving further into December, we had not just 1, but 2 releases from Leo. The first of which being Hunter's Rogue Survival Episode 2. After a few months of waiting, Hunt has returned with an amazing series, Rogue Survival. The story of Jek, Sura, and Azan continues in this new episode as the crew of thieves wanders into dangerous territories of the desert, hoping to find teaching from an old friend, Azan. However, things take a radical turn, and the three orphans have to fight for their lives in the dangerous sea of dust. Now we move on to the long-awaited release of My Rogue Lineage Adventure, Episode 1. Despite Leo losing all his footage halfway through production, he managed to pull through and release it in December. And honestly, it was worth the wait. To give you a synopsis, it's about John, a young and ignorant teen who has never wandered outside his hometown, decides to finally take a step into the outside world. However, it's not what he expected at all. Death, war, cruelty. All of this is casual in the world of Gagaia. Within hours of his journey, he is knocked out, enslaved, and imprisoned. In his cell, he meets Declan, a companion and fighting partner who will change his life. MRLA explores themes of transformation, resilience, and the moral dilemma of living in an unforgiving world, as John learns to navigate Gagaia's brutal landscape and carves out a place for himself amidst the chaos. He also got Rinken to do an interview with Leo as well. Take it away, Rinken.
Leo is a Roblox animator and storyteller, one of the breakout associates in RSVP. A protege of Doc7090, he is a talented video maker in Roblox, with a masterful work in set lighting and facial animation. He is someone who shouldn't be overlooked. We invited Leo for an interview to discuss the release of the pilot episode for My Rogue Lineage Adventures and related short films. What hardships did you face in releasing the first episode of My Rogue Lineage Adventure?
Well, My Rogue Lineage Adventures episode 1 wasn't like directly hard to make. It was more a lot of things that happened while I was creating the episode that really just didn't help me. First off, it was my first ever public project series, so it was kind of hard to get everything prepared because I'd never actually contacted any voice actors for prior projects, but also set up everything and also get attention on the project. And I also had like many deadlines that I had to cancel. And there is the infamous accident, which happened during the October month, where I accidentally deleted half my work. So yeah, that certainly just didn't help me. But in the end, it all went down pretty smoothly.
All right.
In terms of help, I didn't really get much help, though. I have to say, I got in contact with Doc7090, which is he's a friend of mine, and we talked a lot, and he kind of helped me improve, mainly on writing stuff. But now I have like a bunch of writers to help me with the scripts, and I also have background character designers, stuff like that. So yeah, I got pretty much
shout out
all the
some
help
of
I
them?
need. Yeah, I definitely want to shout out some of them. Pepperino and Cry, who are both also voice actors for the series. They have been doing incredible job on helping me with the writing of the series. Pepperino has a pretty good portfolio from what I've seen. He's also worked on other like Roblox series, like Spiderman the Other and stuff like that. Doc7090, he's been helping me a lot with the series. He kind of helped me kickstart the episode and really get some good writing going because the first scripts were really bad. And of course, the voice actors, which did an incredible job. Mainly Equinox, who I was in a call with a few minutes ago. He's a pretty good friend of mine now, and he's the voice actor of John. And he did a tremendous work for MRLA Episode 1. He had to voice act in every single scene. I can't imagine the workload that this was for him.
What was your experience with managing voice acting in your videos?
Instead of using just scripts and handing them out to my voice actors, I actually just make sure that I have all the VAs I need, and I just send them a block out of the scene with emotions on the characters, and that way they can voice over it, and then I just edit the voice acting in the episode which kind of saves a lot of time and editing work because it kind of helps me. I don't have to like cut the every single clip, every single voice clip, and just add it one by one into the episode. It's just one big voiceover. Sometimes there is overlapping, but uh, it either just works well, so I keep it in, or I just cut it and move it. It doesn't really matter, but the method I use is pretty good because the voice actors can just read the emotions of the character on screen, and it also reduces editing work a lot. But I don't mind just giving them out scripts if they really need it.
Certainly, the story you wanted to tell could have been set anywhere. But why Rogue Lineage? Is there a specific reason the story is set in the world of that Roblox game?
Rogue Lineage is first of all a game that I enjoyed since it released in 2019. I've been playing it for a while with my brother Hunter. He introduced me to the game, and I really liked it. I kind of developed a passion for the game, and there is also the fact that the lore in the game can be very inconsistent and undefined. I like to kind of compare it to Shattered Glass. You know, there's all the pieces, but they're just scattered around, and you have to find them everywhere. It's very fun. It's somewhat fun to search through the lore and stuff. In general, the world of Rogue Lineage is pretty good. It's a pretty good sandbox for storytelling. Of course, making an original universe is kind of hard. I've made it in the past, but in this, I wasn't really ready. When I see how much I've developed my writing skills and stuff, I don't think I would have been able to like make my own universe. Yeah, I think it was just the best choice to do to base my series off the Rogue Lineage universe.
Okay. One last question regarding your recent very successful video called
Yes.
Heroes, an AMV that is first of all, can I get a clarification? Is there canon to the your my Rogue Lineage Adventures series, or is it
Yes,
completely separate?
the AMV, the two AMVs that I've made are directly tied to the story. The first one, the Hilary one, is representative of the backstory of one of the main characters, while this one is just an expansion of the plot, that a subplot actually, of two characters in season 2, which I think just didn't get enough attention in the scripts, so I just decided to make an AMV about them. However, I'm going to release an AMV soon, a shorter one, a very small post, which is not canon. It's an alternate universe kind of thing.
Okay, and another thing, the song choice you use, because this is an animated music video, or whatever AMV stands in your video. So why that song, Merely a Heroes by the band Millie? And I believe the song is from Limbus Companies, a game I haven't never touched ever. Why that song
Well,
specifically?
I'm a huge Melee fan too, and Hero is a song I just love, and some of the lyrics really inspired me. I think the main one that struck me is when she says, "I'll prove to you that my version of justice is more just than yours." That really reminded me of the dynamic between my character and Alonso, which is well, just like in my Rogue Lineage Adventures, it's stuff that actually happened and that I lived, and it really just reminded me of that story. So I decided to make an AMV because the song just fit a lot with it, and I chose that song because it really just was perfect with the theme of the two characters, and it also really represented the evolution of Roy. I think with the start being very how do I say it, very happy and very joyful, and then you have the cold realization of the world being cruel and stuff like that. It was just perfectly. But about the blowing up of the video, though, I have just no idea what happened. I guess it's just the Millie music, but I don't know. Apart from like the Deep Woken videos I made a while ago, that never happened to me.
Yeah. Okay. So it seems like do you plan on making more AMVs in the future?
Yeah, like it's a very easy way to make good content, and it's also a very simple kind of video that you can make fast and release between the episodes. Because I don't want to have like very long pauses between my posts, and I really like to tell stories, and I kind of feel sad when I don't tell stories. So these AMVs really just boost my morale, and they help me gain motivation and stuff. And making them just allows me to tell more stories and stuff. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna make a lot more of them. I don't know if I'm gonna make full canon ones because I'm gonna run out of stuff to do the AMVs on at some point.
That was an interview with Leo. You can check out his work at LiosAnimations5604 in YouTube in the description.
Finally got the release of the trailer for Swapiller's new original series, Lunetown Peak. Lunetown Peak is going to be an 11-episode Roblox thriller series set in the titular Swedish Lunetown ski resort, where adventure meets serenity. Swapiller has released the announcement for the new project, showing off its high production sets and expensive cast. The project is now open for auditioning voices for the following characters. So if you're a voice actor, or if you know anyone who does voice acting, spread the word of Lunetown Peaks. We also got the release of Pawnshop Losers Episode 2. Within this episode, the gang must obtain a package misplaced to the docks. Trouble follows with them. Things are heating up. The Pawnshop Losers are targeted. They put their lives on the line, and Trinity brutally kills a man. Pretty exciting stuff. I recommend checking out that episode 1. It's really, really good. Now, getting towards the end of December, Rinken of all people released an original narrative based by animation, simply titled Bitter Reconciliation. I myself star and voice in it too. So the plot is about two strangers bitterly reunite in a cold winter mountain. They have nothing to say, even though they do talk, and yet they'll come out both hurt. And to put it simply, it's kind of the first of like an RSVP lore series. Rinken is working on a second RSVP lore short film, but this time it's starring Shrek and Globex. So I strongly recommend checking out Bitter Reconciliation. It is a very, very well-made short film. And since I mentioned Globex, after a long time coming, Silverhand Films has finally released its big project, BRISK Log 1 Gift. So, Project BRISK is a Roblox anthology mech series. And as of right now, the second Roblox mech series. And the whole thing takes place within trench warfare between two warring factions, that being the Federation of the Yerkascian States and the Republic of Chonorelia. Funnily enough, this was made for Doc 7090's Christmas animation contest, hence the title Gift. So I asked Globex what he has planned for the future of BRISK, and here's what he had to say.
There's a lot planned for BRISK in the near future, maybe a bit too much, but I hope to finish what I started. Each episode, or as we call them, logs, will treat a different story from one another. Different setting, different characters, different themes, same universe. However, rest assured that there will be a big plot that links each and every episode, some sort of conspiracy in a way. At some point, I hope to make some sort of second season where all the stories link up together and have everything be more linear or traditional. Next log, which will be titled The POTUS of Outrage, is expected to come out this year, maybe in summer, but we all know how bad I am with deadlines. The story will be about one of the mech pilots some of y'all have seen in the first short film I made. These pilots pledge allegiance to the ones with big bucks. In other words, they are mercenaries. They are part of a mega corporation called Asterisk Group, a very influential faction within the universe that you will see a lot in future logs. One last thing, there are plans to expand the story of the first short film, Gift. As I couldn't fit what I wanted, I got better and more ambitious ideas for this one. Very grateful for the support I receive, whether it's from friends or strangers. Love y'all, and don't forget to join my server to see more sneak peeks. Globex signing out.
Wow, that was quite the long episode, wasn't it? I don't really know how to end this episode, but thank you all for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Also, check out my series Alicion and my channel as well, Alicion the Movie. But anyways, that does it, and